In every person's life, there are moments that change everything, moments that teach us lessons we never thought we needed to learn. But what if those lessons come from the most unexpected places? A simple object, a broken watch, can carry more meaning than we realize, and sometimes it takes a lifetime to understand its true value. Meet Jason Evans, a young man struggling to keep his head above water in a world that constantly demands more than he has to give. Like many of us, Jason was caught up in the relentless race of life, too busy with the hustle to appreciate the moments that truly mattered. That was until a heartbreaking loss opened his eyes to what had been there all along, a precious gift, one that would change his life forever. This is the story of Jason, his father Robert, and the gift of time. A story that proves how even the smallest things can leave a legacy, and how sometimes it takes a loss to make us truly see. Stay with us as we dive into a journey of love, redemption, and second chances. On a quiet morning in a small town, Jason Evans, a young man in his early 20s, was going through the motions of his life. Struggling to make ends meet, he had long given up on any hopes of greatness. He worked long hours in a factory job, barely making enough to cover his bills, let alone chase his dreams. His father, Robert Evans, a man of few words but deep love, had always been the rock in his life. Robert worked as a mechanic, his hands rough from years of hard labor. Yet, he always made sure Jason knew that family came first. They didn't have much, but they always had each other. One day, Robert gave Jason a broken watch, a vintage piece that had been passed down through generations in their family. It was a symbol of time, legacy, and love. Robert told Jason, "This is more than just a watch, son. It's a reminder that time is the most valuable thing we have. Don't waste it." Jason had never really understood his father's words. He couldn't see how a broken watch could hold any meaning. But Robert's health began to decline. His old body, worn out from years of hard work, started failing him. And as the days passed, Jason began to realize how much he had taken his father for granted. It was a cold autumn evening when Robert was rushed to the hospital. Jason found himself pacing outside the room, anxiously waiting for the doctor's report. His father had been struggling with a heart condition for months, but Jason never thought it would come to this. He had always assumed there would be more time. Inside the hospital room, Robert lay unconscious, connected to a series of machines. Jason took a seat beside his father's bed, holding his hand. He was overcome with guilt. Guilt for not being there for Robert as much as he should have, for not telling him he loved him enough. As Jason stared at his father's frail body, he noticed the broken watch still on Robert's wrist. It had been there for as long as Jason could remember, despite its constant ticking being interrupted by a crack in the glass. Robert had worn it proudly, never allowing its imperfection to affect its meaning. Jason carefully removed the watch from his father's wrist, and for the first time saw it for what it truly was, a gift. It was a symbol of Robert's love and the time they had shared. A wave of understanding washed over Jason. He finally understood his father's words. He understood the value of time and how fleeting it could be. Robert passed away quietly that night, leaving Jason with a heavy heart and a mind full of unanswered questions. Jason was devastated. The man who had taught him the value of family, hard work, and time was gone. Jason's world seemed to stop, as if all the years of neglecting his own dreams had caught up with him. The funeral was a somber affair. Jason stood beside his father's grave, looking at the small crowd of mourners who had come to pay their respects. But even among the familiar faces, Jason felt alone. He had spent so much time working just to survive, never really living, never really appreciating the precious moments he had with his father. Jason went back to his small apartment that night, the broken watch still in his hand. He placed it on the table and stared at it, lost in thought. The weight of his father's last words echoed in his mind. "Don't waste your time." With the watch still in his hands, Jason made a vow to change his life. He knew he couldn't bring his father back, but he could honor his legacy by living with purpose. He couldn't let the time he had left go to waste. The next morning, Jason set out on a new path. He enrolled in evening classes to study business, something he had always dreamed of but never had the courage to pursue. He started working on building his own small business, something that had always seemed impossible before. Jason's life wasn't easy. He still worked long hours at the factory, but now he had a fire inside him. Every day, he worked harder, pushing himself to learn and grow. He would spend hours studying, then apply what he had learned to his side business. It wasn't easy, but Jason was determined, and as the days went on, things began to change. Jason's small business slowly began to grow. He made new connections, learned from his mistakes, and began to see the fruits of his labor. But more importantly, Jason began to feel like he was finally living. He was no longer just surviving, he was thriving. And through it all, the broken watch remained by his side, a constant reminder of his father's love, wisdom, and the time they had shared. Years passed, and Jason's business grew into a successful company. He had built something from nothing, something his father would have been proud of. But more than that, Jason had built a life. He had learned to appreciate every moment, every second, and to never take time for granted. One day, as Jason was reflecting on his journey, he realized something. His father's watch had been fixed. He had taken it to a local watchmaker years ago, and it had been repaired, its hands ticking away once again. Jason smiled as he looked at the watch, now a symbol of both the past and the future. As he stared at the watch, he realized that time was not just about the moments that passed, it was about what you did with them. His father had given him the greatest gift of all, the gift of understanding the value of time. And with that understanding, Jason had been able to build a life that honored his father's legacy. Jason took the watch and placed it in his son's hand. "This," he said, "is a gift of time, and I want you to never forget that every moment counts." And as the watch ticked away, Jason knew that his father's legacy would live on, not just in the watch, but in the way he chose to live his life. As we reach the end of Jason's journey, we can't help but reflect on the power of time. His story shows us that life isn't just about surviving the days. It's about what we choose to do with the time we're given. It's about showing love, taking risks, and never taking a single moment for granted. Jason's journey from grief to growth is a reminder that every second we spend is a gift, one that should be cherished, not wasted. Jason's father, Robert, didn't just give him a watch. He gave him a lesson that time is precious, and the memories we create with the people we love are the things that truly matter. And now, Jason has passed that lesson on to his son, ensuring that his legacy lives on. So, as you watch this story, ask yourself, how are you spending your time? Are you making the most of the moments that truly count? How can you honor the legacies of those who've shaped your life? We would love to hear your thoughts on Jason's journey. What moments in your life have taught you the value of time? What does time mean to you? And how do you make every moment count? Leave a comment below and share your thoughts with us. Let's start a conversation about what it means to truly live in the moment. And if you know someone who needs to hear this message, share this video with them. Let's spread the message of time, love, and second chances. Thank you for watching, and remember, every moment counts.
Held the watch so worn and tight, a gift that would carry him through the night. Years had passed, but it still shone bright, a father's love, a guiding light. Through the struggles, through the pain, he never let go, never in vain. And though the world seemed cold and strange, this watch, this gift would never change. The watch that changed everything, a symbol of love, the hope it brings in every tick, a heartbeat strong, a reminder we've never been alone all along. The watch that changed everything, every moment it echoes still. The love of a father, unbroken, real. The watch that changed everything, through every loss, through what life may bring. With every moment it echoes still. The love of a father, unbroken.